In the school hallway, we see Blade, who is holding a bloodied sword. Previously, he had taken down several students from the top-ranking class. Now, Sophie stands before him, ready to confront him. Sophie expresses her desire for a serious duel with Blade. She believes she can win if she unleashes her full strength. Without hesitation, Sophie activates her artificial hero power, the ability to stop time. She proceeds to strike Blade at his vital points. After time resumes, Sophie appears extremely exhausted from using this power. However, Blade shows no signs of pain or fatigue. As it turns out, just before Sophie stopped time, Blade employed his Vajra body technique, which temporarily hardens his body. But because time was frozen, his body remained in that hardened state. Blade then corners Sophie and thrusts his sword into her chest. After all these tragic battles, Blade suddenly screams, calling out to the headmaster. Behind Blade, a projection of the headmaster's face appears. The headmaster had explained earlier that this is a lost magic called science. More precisely, they are using virtual reality. Unlike the real world, they can continuously use sharp swords without worrying about damage. So the headmaster wants to see the students train as if it were real until only one remains. They enter the virtual reality world by attaching a device to their heads. If they lose in virtual reality, they will wake up in the real world. However, Blade protests because it's too difficult to distinguish between the real world and virtual reality. There's a possibility of someone misunderstanding the two and ending up killing their friend in the real world. The headmaster shares this concern and eventually transforms the virtual reality setting into a candy-created world. The headmaster proceeds with the students' battles, allowing the last one standing to use virtual reality as they please. Leonard encountered Arnest and expressed a desire to spar with her. However, Arnest appeared ferocious and mercilessly struck Leonard down. She seemed like a crazed individual who enjoyed killing. After defeating Leonard, she continued on her journey to find Blade. Meanwhile, Blade was observing the battle between Clay and Cassim against Claire and Jessica. Initially, Clay and Cassim seemed to have the upper hand. When they were still in the lower-ranked class, Clay and Cassim consistently defeated them. However, Claire and Jessica believed they had grown stronger and could win now. Jessica then asked why Clay and Cassim refused to lose to them. Both of them hesitated to respond, avoiding eye contact. Seizing the opportunity, Jessica swiftly attacked and struck Cassim with her fan weapon. Clay panicked as Cassim was defeated. While Clay was momentarily distracted, Claire wasted no time in hitting him with her Morningstar weapon. For the first time, Claire and Jessica emerged victorious against Clay and Cassim. Not long after that, both of them were startled by the appearance of Arnest. Arnest realized that Blade was nearby. She confessed to finding satisfaction in killing people. Although in a different context, Blade had previously promised to kill Arnest if she went mad. Arnest immediately sprinted toward Blade while chuckling. As for Blade, he simply swung his sword, creating a powerful gust of wind that sent Arnest, Claire, and Jessica flying. Afterward, Blade woke up in the real world, and for some reason, the other students were giving him strange looks. Of course, the last one standing was Blade. Arnest had also awakened and felt ashamed of her violent behavior in virtual reality. The headmaster praised himself for coming up with this training method, but it left the students in shock and suffering. Suddenly, Blade approached the headmaster to tamper with the virtual reality control device. As per the headmaster's words, the last survivor indeed had the right to use it as they pleased. Blade inputted data for Fierce Team and Beast to populate his world. He also added traps to the floor. The headmaster wasn't sure if Blade could handle it all alone, but Blade wasn't doing it for himself. He took a virtual reality cable and plugged it into the headmaster. Blade asked the headmaster's wife to set it up so that he could die and respawn endlessly until nightfall. Meanwhile, Clay and Cassim looked gloomy after their fight with Claire and Jessica earlier. As usual, Blade devoured his curry with great enthusiasm. Clay and Cassim remained despondent, refusing even to sit with the others. Arnest asked what happened, and Blade explained that they lost to Claire and Jessica. Blade elaborated that Claire had made rapid progress and Jessica's deceptive attacks had thrown them off. In contrast, Clay and Cassim lost because they were too arrogant about their own strength and often skipped lessons. Those words might have hit Clay and Cassim hard, but Blade said them for their own good. Currently, Blade and his friends are heading towards a certain place. He's carrying a pamphlet about a hot spring bathhouse built by the headmaster. When they arrive there, they meet Dione, who is helping with the construction. According to the pamphlet, this place is called Therma. However, Blade doesn't know what it means. Out of nowhere, Eliza arrives to explain. She explains and invites Blade and the others to enter the bathhouse. Even Dione joins them. The bathhouse is co-ed, but the women are still wearing swimsuits. All the students from the top-ranked class join the bathhouse, but Blade doesn't see Arnest. Just as she's mentioned, Arnest suddenly appears. Arnest is too embarrassed to enter the mixed bath, so she wears a towel over her swimsuit. In contrast to Arnest, the headmaster suddenly arrives completely naked. He says the concept of thermi is to enter naked. Arnest objects because it's a mixed bath. The headmaster can't argue, but he still refuses to use a towel. Somehow, the headmaster becomes very enthusiastic, saying he wants to see the girls naked. If not, at least he wants to see them in swimsuits. The girls look at the headmaster with disgust. The headmaster is sure the guys here feel the same way. Jessica also tells Arnest to just go with it. After all, the other girls aren't using towels either. Suddenly, the headmaster's wife smacks him because he's being too irritating. Although the headmaster has left, Arnest still reluctantly takes off her towel. After that, Claire and Jessica approached Clay and Cassim, who had been alone all this time. Claire wanted Clay and Cassim not to dwell on the fight earlier in the afternoon. Claire said maybe they won because of luck. Nevertheless, Clay and Cassim still wanted to reflect on how weak they were. Without considering their feelings, Claire said that Clay and Cassim were much stronger. In other words, they lost to someone weaker. To make matters worse, Claire apologized for winning. Clay and Cassim immediately ran away, crying. That night, Blade came to see Clay and Cassim to cheer them up. However, they said that Blade would never understand their feelings. Besides, Blade never lost to a woman, let alone anyone else. Clay revealed that he didn't mind losing to others, he just didn't want to lose to Jessica. He also confessed that he actually liked Jessica. Similarly, Cassim had feelings for Claire. Innocently, Blade said that he also liked Claire and Jessica, along with their other friends. At first, Clay and Cassim panicked, but it turned out that Blade's liking was different from theirs. Suddenly, Q entered through the window. She said the solution to their problem was simple. They just needed to become stronger because females liked strong males. Strangely, Clay and Cassim agreed with her statement. Q then told them to train with Blade to become stronger. On the other hand, the girls were gathered in a room, eating cake. The purpose of this meeting was to discuss Clay and Cassim. Since then, the two of them always left when Claire and Jessica wanted to talk to them. They were confused about what to do. Once again, Q came in through the window. However, this time she said that males liked strong females. However, Claire and Jessica had no desire to make Clay and Cassim like them. Claire then had an idea to skip training so that Clay and Cassim could catch up with their abilities. However, Arnest opposed this idea. She said she had a better idea. The next day, Clay and Cassim were rigorously trained by Blade. Eventually, it was time for them to practice using virtual reality again. If Clay and Cassim won this match, it would reveal their feelings to Claire and Jessica. Arnest overheard these words before entering the virtual world. It turned out that Arnest's idea was to have a rematch between Clay and Cassim against Claire and Jessica in virtual reality. Meanwhile, other students entered the virtual world as spectators. Shortly after that, the match began. Claire and Jessica were surprised because Clay and Cassim could perform fighting spirit techniques. Blade had helped them realize their potential during training. Cassim was now skilled in using wind magic, but it wasn't just them who improved. Jessica suddenly unleashed fire magic. It was undoubtedly Arnest who taught her. And unexpectedly, Claire could also use fighting spirit techniques. Cassim was defeated due to her attack. Not only that, Jessica used ice magic to freeze Clay, then attacked him with lightning magic. Finally, she finished off Clay with her fan. Back in the real world, Clay and Cassim admitted defeat to Claire and Jessica. They thanked them for the earnest battle. Although they lost, Clay and Cassim were confident that they had become stronger, as were Claire and Jessica.